Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell notification down below just so you get notified every time I post a new video. I post videos every week, usually on Fridays. So for today's video, I will be doing a HelloFresh unboxing and review. Now I normally do all the cooking by myself from scratch and meal prep for the week. So I haven't tried anything like this in the past before, so I'm interested to try it out and share my experiences with you guys. So why don't we go ahead and get started now. Right off the bat, we weren't off to a good start. First, my package was delayed by a day, which is fine, but I already planned out my meals for the week, so I had to adjust my schedule a little bit. Also, my package didn't come in the best shape. There were dents all over the box, but I mean, as long as everything inside was good, it doesn't matter too much. Top of the box are the recipes for the 4 dishes that I picked out for the week. Underneath those were all the ingredients. The box came with a total of 4 ice packs, most of which were already melted. They packaged all the meals into individual brown bags and had them labeled, which was very efficient, and all the meats in the pasta were outside of the bags at the bottom. They even threw in a free Kinder bar, which I was really excited for. Overall, it looked like everything was in pretty good condition. On the first night, I decided to make the Mexican pork and street corn tacos. This isn't a dish I normally make at home, so it was nice to try something different. A quick inspection of all the ingredients showed that everything was fresh, so that was good. I was a little worried at first since my package was delayed and some of the ice packs in the box were already melted. So the recipe said that it would take 15 minutes for preparation and 20 minutes for cooking, which wasn't too far off from my time. It took me roughly 45 minutes to finish making this dish. One thing I would note is that even though pickling the veggies was step 2, I don't think it had enough time to fully pickle as the shallots still tasted very raw and had a strong taste. I think this would have been a lot better if I let them sit for a few hours or even overnight. So I never charred corn before, but charring it gave the corn a whole new level of flavor, which I enjoyed, even though it was a little scary having the corn pop all over the place. However, my favorite part had to be the chili lime cream. It was a perfect balance of creaminess and tartness. Lastly, the Southwest spice along with the chili powder that was added to the ground pork gave it a nice kick and made the meat extremely flavorful. All in all, I would say that this was a delicious first meal, and I would 100% make something similar in the future, but without this meal service. The only changes I would make are the pickled veggies and possibly increasing the quantity or adding a side dish, as these were 3 pretty small tacos. Regardless, this was still a pretty successful first meal, and I'm excited to see what the next few meals will be like. It's day 2, and today I'll be making lemon tortellini with roasted bell pepper and parmesan. I picked this dish as I was really craving some cheesy pasta when I was looking at the meal choices. Out of the 4 meals I picked, this was the only vegetarian one. Overall, I would say the ingredients were pretty fresh, however, there were a few bruises on both the lemon and tomato. Nothing too significant, but I just wanted to point that out since if I were grocery shopping on my own, I probably wouldn't pick those out. The anticipated prep time for this dish was 5 minutes, while the cook time was 30 minutes. It took me a little bit longer, roughly 40 to 45 minutes, as I used more prep time getting the produce ready. I usually don't like bell pepper that much, but roasting it kind of masked the strong bell pepper taste, and I actually liked it a lot with the pasta. The sauce was good too, but I think there could have been more sauce, as the pasta was still pretty dry. And unless you want every bite to be just scallions, I would recommend not adding too many. Overall, I really enjoyed this dish. The portion size for this was perfect, as the cheese and pasta are pretty heavy on its own. If I were to make it again, I would probably make a few changes as I mentioned earlier, so more sauce and less green onions. It's day 3, and today I'll be making the brown sugar bourbon steak with creamy Dijon pan sauce, scallion mashed potatoes, and roasted Brussels sprouts. To be honest, I didn't have high expectations for the steak going into this meal. I mean, how good of a quality could the steak be? I was mostly just excited for the mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts. I love roasted Brussels sprouts and any type of potato. I think compared to the last 2 meals, this one had the freshest ingredients. The meat looked really good, and so did the Brussels sprouts and the rest of the ingredients. Now, I never had ranch steak before. I'm not even sure what part of the cow that is, but I'm excited to try it. The HelloFresh recipe said that it would take 10 minutes of prep and 35 minutes of cooking. This is one of the longer cooking times out of the 4 meals, and it took me a lot longer to make this dish as you have to individually wash and cut all the potatoes and Brussels sprouts. I would say it took me almost an hour to finish making this dish. Also, I'm starting to see a trend here. Almost every single recipe has scallions and sour cream. Now, I love both of these ingredients, but having them for almost every meal was a bit tiring. There could have been so many alternatives for these ingredients in the meals, but it seems like they're limiting the number of ingredients they provide in order to save on costs. So if you're not an avid scallion lover, please do not put too many scallions in the mashed potatoes. I added maybe 1/5 of what was on the recipe, and I still feel like it was way too much. The Brussels sprouts, on the other hand, came out amazing. It was so simple and yet so delicious. Just make sure you flip them halfway through or else it won't roast evenly. The main reason why I picked this dish was for the brown sugar bourbon sauce on the steak. I really wanted to like it, but it was way too salty for me. The seasoning came pre-packaged, so I didn't even add any salt to it. It was already super salty. Lastly, the meat was actually pretty tender considering it was from a delivery service, and it's not my personal steak preference, but I still enjoyed it. Would I order this again? Probably not, as it was pretty simple to make, and I normally make a very similar combination of these dishes on my own, and I prefer choosing my own cut of steak. So for my last meal of the week, I'll be making the penne with pork meatballs and a creamy mushroom sauce. Like I mentioned earlier, I was really craving pasta as I was ordering for the week, which is why I have yet another pasta dish. This one is a little different than the one I made on day 2. It has mushrooms and meatballs, which I love. Once again, this dish also has green onions and sour cream, so we're 3 for 4 this week. I've never added cream cheese to pasta or mashed potatoes before, but it's pretty good, I would say. So overall, the ingredients were all very fresh. The mushrooms looked flawless, and so did the scallions. The pork also looked nice and pink. This recipe had one of the quicker prep and cooking times at 5 minutes of prep and 35 minutes of cooking. However, prep still took me a little longer as I had to wash and cut the mushrooms and scallions, and also form the ground pork into meatballs, all while still cooking the pasta and the sauce. It probably took almost an hour to finish making this dish. Taste-wise, this pasta checked all the boxes I was looking for in a creamy mushroom pasta. In comparison to the other pasta dish, this one had a lot more sauce and flavor, which I really enjoyed, and the mushroom paired very well with the meatballs and the pasta. I probably won't order this from a delivery service again, as it was pretty simple in terms of actually making the dish, but I will add it to my list of meals to make in the future by myself. So I ended up continuing the service into week 2 and got the following dishes, just because I wanted to get a better idea of the service and provide more feedback. Now, I won't go over each dish in detail like I did for week 1, I'll just be pointing out the significant parts. So far, everything in week 2 has been great. The dishes were all very delicious, except for 2 of the meals where I had to throw out the vegetables as they were completely rotten. Now, this is unacceptable as now a third of my dish is now gone. I pay expecting to get fresh ingredients for every meal, not for rotten vegetables. So to conclude, yes, HelloFresh is a great service for individuals who live very busy lives and want to make simple dishes that taste great in a short amount of time. So for me, I used a discount code for my order, so it came out to be about $6.24 per meal for the first week, and a little more for the second week, which is alright, but still on the pricier side for the ingredients that are given. Additionally, the quality of the ingredients are kind of a hit and miss. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the ingredients in week 1 were excellent. However, in week 2, I had quite a few ingredients that were not up to par, which was disappointing. So while the food was good, it seems like this company is not very reliable in providing consistent services and quality week over week. So that's the end of my video. If you guys enjoyed it and thought my review was helpful, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos every week, so I guess I'll see you guys next week. Bye! Sesame!